mid laner of the summer split so far, because he was probably the mid that everyone wanted to take their shot at Worlds. Remember, XDG was at Worlds last year.
Yeah. Polar opposites colliding in the middle. And we'll see if ManCloud can really start to stand up for himself. Remember, in the previous splits, we started getting on his case, and then he became ManCloud. He became that player we were expecting him to be. Coast on blue as they enter the Rift. XDG on the red side, and we are going to get this game locked in, our third match of the day, I should say.
So very early on, a lot of Doran shields for the supports.
Always.
The regen that offers is, in pretty much everyone's eyes, superior to the gold generation that you'll get from something like a Relic Shield early on in the game. We've seen a couple supports go Relic Shield, but they will only do that if they do not respect the other lane matchup and they feel like they can get away with it.
Yeah.
What we'll probably see from these supports is after they get a little bit of gold under their belt, that's when they'll go off to the coin and then just work into that Talisman of Ascension. I'm not expecting anything too creative from the supports early.
Smithy on his Sivir. I wouldn't say his Sivir, but he had a great game on it. As
Did
we
he
said,
ever?
That near 8-1 and 8. I think he only died that one-time score. The team definitely has something they can utilize on the hunt. The partial stampede, it'll be big footsteps. You got Benny on Trundle and ManCloud on Gragas, but they will still be able to make a huge impact in these fights. Shifter trying to be kiting on Nidalee in these games, getting those spears out. And we've actually seen Nidalee being used to a good extent coming into the split.
Yeah, especially with Caitlyn, because there will be a point in this game where they try and siege turrets and they'll put down just a plethora of traps. There'll be the Nidalee Bushwhacks and the Caitlyn Yordle Snap Traps, and they will be so disadvantageous for the enemy if they try to walk through. ManCloud already, for no real reason,
that was superbly
has taken a few spears, and that's a bad start in the lane for ManCloud.
Nintendo not going to get any help, so this is what Kobe was talking about. It is going to be WizFusion and Daydream and hopefully getting that level 2 first, and that's a bottom lane that's been having a bit of trouble this season, even when they've been ahead.
Yeah, the WizFusion Daydream lane hasn't been able to work very well for Coast whatsoever. It has been the solo lanes that are generally the focus for them. This is an interesting matchup in the top lane, too. Just Jax versus Trundle. Oftentimes, people have been picking Trundle because they think it can outscale the non-interactive laners like Dr. Mundo and then beat them up later. But Jax is a very interactive laner early on in the game, and they both just kind of like to be stat sticks when they fight each other. And, you know, Trundle will put down his ultimate. Zion Spartan will just try to stack up his attack speed, and they'll brawl. Early on in the lane, mana permitting, Zion Spartan has the edge.
Yeah, and he knows he can go hard. That teleport on Benny says, you're not doing anything that's going to take me off guard. With Zion Spartan holding Ignite, Benny has to play a little bit farther back, not getting zoned out just yet. Good poke coming in from Fusion on the EQ combo, and the Glitter Lance from Daydreamin' in the bottom lane, as it's pretty calm down here so far.
Yeah, they raced to level 2. Daydreamin' and Fusion won, but Smithy and Bloodwater were very good farming at the turrets. I wonder if Nintendo X, knowing how low Benny is, well, he was low, never mind. Whoopsie-daisy.
That Trundle passive.
I really wonder what Nintendo's up to here. I think he's hoping to catch Zuna in a counter gank. Instead, he's just going to steal some snacks from the jungle.
Yeah, not going to be able to do too much. We all thought a very low Benny was in the top lane, but playing it safe, he's been getting himself healed back up, and he's actually against the Zion Spartan Doran's Blade to his buy of the Doran Shield.
And that's because Zion Spartan wants to be the aggressor in that lane. He knows that he can put more aggression down. We may end up seeing that jungler duel, depending on how long Nintendo sticks around. He's getting it there.
He's been spending a little bit of time, but he will hover back to his jungle. Bloodwater looking to get his footing here in the bottom lane. Keeps dipping in and out of the brush to give themselves a little advantage in the positioning. Daydream and WizFusion aren't totally biting on it just yet. Still waiting for the first kill to come in. Don't think Zuna finds anything up top, as he says, I was counter-jungled, so Nintendo Dex might be on the top side. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more action out of Zuna in the mid lane. Oftentimes, people will pick Pantheon to camp the mid lane and really get that guy going. And Zuna generally has just been farming for this first wave. He should shop, maybe buy some boots, and then get to it. Otherwise, that Pantheon pick is going to run out of time.
He's going to go straight for Wraiths on this one. Looks like he is level 3. He'd be coming into the lanes equal on that. Nintendo Dex is level 4, but there's a hook coming in from Bloodwater. He's had that brush position the entire time, but not much coming from that. Great shield by Daydreamin'.
Yeah, pretty much no damage.
Yep.
As far as that gank is concerned. but it does allow them to shove in the lane a little bit more.
Zion Spartan getting Benny to waste a few skills there. Doesn't get to punish him for it, though. Benny backs off. He doesn't want to lose that lane. It's 24-31, so he's all right in CS. As Zuna, as Benny backs, makes an entrance to the mid lane.
Red buff, but it's real close to the turret. Oh, man, Cloud missed his flash body slam. He needs to be able to land that if he's going to be burning all that. Now he is actually a bit of a liability in the lane because his flash is down. So very critical miss there.
Shifter about halfway, coming up to 6. We may see Nintendo come in once they hit the ultimates there. We'll see what they can continue to do. Man Cloud still trying to get those fingers warmed up. We've been expecting to see a lot from him coming in these games.
Maybe it's the expectations. You know, Gragas is so ridiculously strong in the lane early. Let's check out that hook, though.
Wiz Fusion, good flay. Very nice flay by Bloodwater horizontally, but got him still to go back a bit.
Yeah, it definitely seems like XDG laning quite strongly across the board. Everyone individually up a little bit in CS, especially the more Xmithy can land those glaives. But a lot of aggression go down to Bloodwater. There's the Ignite.
Bloodwater gets hit up, and you got to watch the AD carry as well. No, it's a beautiful move by Nintendo. He's already on the way down. The spell shield comes up. They get the glitter lance off of it, and the cocoon hits. A beautiful kill. Consecutive hit up by Coast.
Well, they had ran out of wards, and really Bloodwater just overcommitted himself. He did not respect the damage that Daydreamin was going to be able to put back on him, thinking they were healthy because Xmithy was so healthy. That was not the case. Coast went aggressive because they knew they had jungle support, but they would have gotten that kill completely without the jungle support. It's just because Nintendo was there, it got a number 2.
That was actually Nintendo that queued away the spell shield, not a glitter lance. So even more props to him there. Very well played. Benny comes back to lane with a bit of armor and a Dorn's Blade of his own. He can kind of fight back now.
Yeah, very interesting lane up here, knowing that Zion went with triple Dorns. Definitely means Benny means business up here with Trundle getting that cloth armor.
Don't want to give him too many stats to steal just yet.
Yeah, not necessarily. That's going to be very difficult for Jax when he jumps into team fights, because one of the big things that keeps Jax going is the power of his ultimate, how it gives him so many resists. Once he pops it, we might see a Benny ult.
He's going very hard here. He actually holds onto the ultimate, but gets it out of Benny.
Yeah, well, that's the smart thing to do. Right. Because if Zion Spartan will use his ultimate, he gets a whole bunch of armor and MR, which will then be stolen away from him by Benny. So the ultimate is not actually that useful for Zion Spartan when he's fighting Benny.
Very smart play by Zion, keeping everything in mind. Benny's not going to lose too much off of this, and he still holds the CS lead as he's pretty much just coming in, nomming these waves out. A few noms to Zion Spartan as well. Looks like we are going to see Nintendo roaming up, though.
Right through a ward. Let's see if Benny can make the retreat.
Good knock up. The counter strike is going to get the stun. Forces the flash. Very nicely played.
Yeah, a lot of summoner spells being burned right there by XDG. No early pressure from the jungle Pantheon as of yet. One maybe attempted gank that got messed up by a ManCloud's missed flash body slam. And this mid lane in particular, you expect Gragas to beat up on Nidalee early. Pretty much nobody can stick with Gragas early on in the lane. He has so much of everything. Wave clear, trait damage, mobility, that he is going to do well. But the fact that he's only up by 10 CS to a Nidalee who doesn't really hit much power until she has access to her Cougar form means a little bit of trouble for XDD across the board.
We got to think, you know, ManCloud really hasn't been receiving any support from Zuna either. A jungler on or a Pantheon champion we usually see around level 3, level 4. He hasn't ganked once.
He did have that one gank attempt though, where ManCloud misplayed with his body slam.
Right.
But other than that, you're absolutely right. Zuna has been a pretty much non-factor.
We'll see what he can keep doing. He has just used his smite, so he's trying to get everything cleaned up in his jungle, back to buy. He's only boots behind right now on Nintendo. Just going to get out the early quick damage and aggression from Elise as well. Still looking to come up with anything in the bottom lane, possibly. You got Wiz Fusion with 2 assists so far, so they already are ahead. Going to have to watch that to make sure they keep this lead. Like we said, this bottom lane can have trouble.
I actually feel like if that death sentence landed, it would have been death of Bloodwater, because he would have decided to go in for the Elise counter gank. I'm also very surprised we haven't seen any Lantern Pantheon ganks. It just seems like it's natural success right there. You pull him in, he'll jump stun afterwards, and then you can chain all of Thresh's CC afterwards. Coast has just been playing properly and defensive to not allow those things to happen.
Oh, Nintendo may find more than he wants here. There's going to be 3 on the other side. They throw down on the hunt. He goes back towards Daydream, and a beautiful play there. They flash the box. Benny in the top lane getting hit up quite hard. Zion, without even using the ultimate or ignite there, gets the kill. Daydream and goes down, and they trade across the map 1-for-1.
Yeah, let's see if Shifter...
Threads it. Great shot from the ace in the hole.
Well, one guy had to dodge the spear, the other one had to dodge the ace in the hole, and then one of them decided to finish off the target. That just means across the board that even though Coast was late to that party in the bot lane, they still got one back. And that's fantastic for them, knowing that Zion Spartan got the kill as well.
And Zion, like we said, not using the ultimate, going very hard in that lane. He's going to let his team know things are going quite well up there so far. You see Shifter trying to roam, but they get back. And the back and forth here easily in favor of Shifter.
Yeah, Shifter's got a blue buff right now. ManCloud does not. Almost anything that ManCloud does to harass down Shifter is not going to stick unless he can blow through him with an ignite. Knowing that ManCloud's ultimate isn't up, though, means this is actually a Shifter bully lane for a little bit longer.
I'm surprised Shifter hasn't grabbed up a sweeper yet so he can play those Faga War Spears. He's already trying to throw him from the side, but he just got back to lane, so he's trying to give himself an advantage. Oh, so close. 11 minutes on the clock. 4-1 for Coast. Like we said, Coast has the one-up on XDG in this head-to-head, so they're feeling confident.
And even though XDG is coming off a victory against Dignitas, it was a very sloppy-looking game.
Yeah, it was.
And amongst Coast's losing streak, they've actually had a lot of very close games, or a lot of games where they've been up early on and then not been able to close out. They need to be able to close out this game. Sure, they only have a little bit of a lead, but you can only lose leads so many times before you lose your spot in the LCS, and Coast needs to capitalize on this one for sure.
And something we see teams doing a little bit more as we see Nintendo place down that ward on their side of the map, that pink ward for defense. It helps them keep control of everything. See 16,000 to 15,000. Coast is working the kills. They haven't been able to really find any of the turrets yet, though. XDG's been able to hold that for themselves.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons this game is looking a little slow is Coast is hoping to play reactive to Zuna's Pantheon ganks. Therefore, a lot of them are playing back in lanes, except for the top laner, because Pantheon hardly ever ganks the top lane. And they're just kind of passively farming. But Zuna hasn't been anywhere, so none of those reactive gank plays can happen.
Benny again forced to use Subjugate there. Zion Spartan doing what he can in this top lane to just really give him a problem. Benny is not having fun right now. His teleport's up, so he can do what he needs to and come back if it happens.
Well, in Benny's defense, his CS is still very close.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that one death, he would actually be winning that lane. He has done a fantastic job of just surviving. And now, knowing that there is a teleport up, even though it's an altless Trundle, we might see some action down here in the bottom lane.
Oh, they get the Whimsy onto the Cocoon. Nice Lantern there. Here comes the drop in. Zuna's going to get his first big gank. Oh, the Repel goes right up over it, but does he have anywhere to go? Nintendo doing what he can until he goes down.
XDG does get one out of there, but that's because Coast was in complete retreat mode. We will see a lot of full retreating from Coast when they don't have the numbers advantage in fights. Because of the Nidalee Caitlyn, they are very poke-oriented. There's a blue.
Oh, no. Very nicely played by Shifter.
Yeah, ManCloud, you could see his reaction on the screen. He's like, should have seen that one coming. Needed to block in front of the spear, which is also not very friendly because he would have taken a bunch of damage. But at least he'd have his blue buff, Riv.
They both have the Athenes finished up. That's going to help him a little bit, but not against the Spears of Shifter. He gets a refresh after completely ending that last blue buff. Mid lane's going to be hard, and Coast is looking to make it even harder in the bottom lane. Daydreaming doesn't have mana, and they're able to push out Bloodwater and Xmithy here. In real aggressive.
Going for the double buff steal.
What?
Zuna, yeah.
This is unfortunate.
Yes.
He can't do anything.
He thought that the red buff had already been stolen and that the little minions were left over. But then when Zuna killed the little minion, he realized that the this buff is alive thing hadn't updated, and he's like, oh crap, Zion's been killing it the whole time. And then he went and checked after his red buff had been taken.
So Dragon going over to Coast.
That was even better, actually, because Zion Spartan was able to call out where Zuna was. It was a very safe solo Dragon for Nintendo X's Elise, who out of junglers, Elise and Kha'Zix, especially in the solo queue land, solo Dragon, no problem. They don't even take damage. Spiderling's tank.
Very much so in the lead right now. Not too big of a gold lead, though. XDG's been able to kind of keep that close. This is going to help. But this turret falling is finally going to start opening the map. We'll see Wiz Fusion and Daydream and heading up to a different lane. But Smithy here putting on a little bit of behavioral aggression and misses the boomerang.
Yeah, I wonder how long this is going to stay close, though. No action really been created thus far by XDG. And I think this game is going to be all about Coast just sitting back, pushing, throwing spears with Nidalee, and kind of just waiting for that to happen, whereas XDG's the ones that need to be able to force things.
Huzzah!
Where's it going to go?
And down.
Yeah.
And no fight. Come on now. He waited for him, and then he didn't realize what was around him. So Benny backs off on that. He has had to use his ultimate pretty much every time it's up. They are not letting him have an easy game. That's a good focus because Benny's a playmaker for XDG. He's one that could turn the game around. That
was supposed to be the plan for XDG, that Benny would become more of a carry. Has not been able to do so. Very few teams rely on top lane carries.
Gonna do what they can. Nintendude nicely taking aggro, gonna get the repel in as it comes down. Zuna's forced to go now into a 2v1 situation. The Zion Spartan himself now tanking the turret. They do not want any more of this fight. The empowered hit. Zuna burning down with red buff. He does not want to stay.
If Nintendo didn't time that repel just right, he would have been dead, but there is cavalry coming up the river right now for XDG.
Zion Spartan definitely needs to make his way out. The minion wave isn't even close for him to jump to, but he does have a ward for himself.
That was round one.
Round two is going to be big. This is going to be the explosive cast. Boom, boom! No! Not enough, and he walks out. It didn't explode. There's no explosion. You can't walk away yet.
Well, that's not good for XDG. That was a great escape by Zion Spartan, but he had no business surviving that one. XDG should have been able to secure that kill. Another missed opportunity.
Missed opportunity, but gain for Coast. The mid turret gets taken down to about 20% health, and that's not going to last much longer as Shifter manhandling that lane. He is down in CS, but he's making everything else work for his team.
Well, we'll see if he can get that turret down at any point. It's next to impossible to push out a Gragas from lane, just because that barrel guy. Clearing all the minions. He's got 2 minions walking up towards the turret. He's got a nice line of traps, though. If anyone wants to come in.
It's like a landing strip.
Yeah. Can't walk on that side of the lane.
Nope. Bloodwater's going to try. Oh, see? Can't do it.
And he also didn't have much room to juke in around that area.
Right.
Because if he moves around, he's going to hit a trap.
Complete vision. Not too much damage actually coming off of those barrels. He only has the Athenes, Man-Cloud that is. He's been pushed back quite a bit. Shifter going for those Sork boots to get the penetration on his spears right away. Been working so far. Everybody is fearing Coast at this moment.
Yeah, looking at the game as a whole, though, even though XDG hasn't had a good early game, it hasn't been a disaster. They're only down 2,000 gold.
That's true.
And they do feel like they have improved mid to late game shot calling and team play now that they've done that role swap. It's not the direction I expect them to go. What do you say?
That's why they're the players and we're the casters. 5-2. Zuna actually still, well, not still, I should say. We see him building damage. And it looks like he's going to have that Brutalizer next.
Yeah. Spirited Lizard Elder Brutalizer is the build on Pantheon. You normally get it a lot more quickly in order to have a large impact in the ganking game. Has not happened as of yet. A lot of harass there by Wiz Fusion.
Yeah, a lot of the fear that Shifter is able to put in right now that Zion Spartan has put to the top lane, not coming from Man-Cloud, not coming from that jungle Pantheon that we see as early aggression. Just a few ganks have been able, or I should say man-falls, that one Grand Skyfall from Zuna was able to bring him in. One of the 2 kills they have. Losing a turret in the top lane is going to increase that 3,000 gold lead to 3.4.
I think the most important thing in this game for Coast is how they have not been taken out of their comfort zone whatsoever. When Coast has been victorious this season, it has either been Zion Spartan or Shifter getting really strong and playing their own game and then reacting to that. Right now, Zion Spartan's the one playing his own game. He's got a lot of people coming at him, though.
This is what they said before in the video. He likes to be on that champion that can carry, the one that can duel, and he's trying to be a Grandmaster right now. I don't think it's going to work too well versus 3. He needs another light pole.
But listen, he was doing his own thing, and the rest of Coast was responding to it. That's how they like to play. They get 2 turrets out of it, and they're pushing an inhibitor tower down.
Grand Skyfall to come in. Wiz Fusion, you're a little too deep. There's the wild growth. He has to walk towards Man-Cloud, but they did not have much choice. Nice flash over the wall, gets nice distance there, but Bloodwater could throw on the hook, could throw it on the box here. He does not actually. They wait for it to come out. There, throws it down. They get the kill into Daydreamin'. They're going to turn on to Nintendude now. XDG picks up some very much needed gold.
Yeah, 4 kills all across the board for XDG. It was a collapse that they finally made onto Coast. I will say, though, that Coast was very sloppy in the way they got away from that one. You can see here WizFusion way too close to the turret. He is a very long-range champion, and he was the last one around. Whenever you're retreating as a team, the AD carry should pretty much always be the first one back, lest he get trapped like he did in that fight. And then once he was trapped, there was no supporting people to do damage as they ran away, and everyone on XDG could just chase him down.
Relying a little too much on the speed your support can give you. He felt safe.
Especially against a Sivir.
He wasn't safe. Like Smithy doing what he can, still has a positive score. Like we said, that Sivir really just a champion he has excelled on in his last game. So he's trying to do that again for his team this game. They're trying to run the Stampede comp, but it's really just been the Grand Skyfalls when they can find the fight. And that fight has only come when Coast makes a mistake so far.
Yeah, and let's check out this Dragon here because Zion Spartan's actually up top, so this is a 5v4 for XGG. They want to force here.
ManCloud diving in, not really having too much vision back there. That pink ward we saw placed is still up for Coast.
Oh,
all the way in. Bloodwater may not have wanted that one. He goes down. WizFusion picking up a kill after coming up from being dead, but they do lose Daydream.
Yeah, 1 for 1 and a Dragon right there for XGG. How much is Zion Spartan going to get out of this one? Because now XGG has to respawn up top to the split-pushing Jax, whereas the other 3 members of Coast push mid.
Got a very big wave coming right behind that. See if Benny can stop it. Zion Spartan looks to... Nah, he's giving a little more respect.
With that guy.
Yeah.
Blade of the Ruined King, Trundle finished right now. He's a very scary man. That scaling battle will be very interesting as this game gets later and later.
Wow, not really giving any respect right now. Zuna could have gotten himself into trouble if they went in here. He's level 11 right now. But I guess Nintendude is as well. It just would have been a scary fight.
Zion Spartan barely made it past that pillar.
Yeah.
It's Houdini over there in the top lane. But really, Zuna, nice looking score right now. You know, he's got a fair bit of damage, and this is the moment in the game where Pantheon and Gragas really need to make their impact. They have a lot of ability to catch people out of position, and since Coast is up 4 turrets to 1, there is a lot of ground that XGG can cover and then chase whenever Coast tries to expose themselves for a next turret.
See how Coast utilizes this comp. We haven't seen Shifter really put those spears into effect. Him and ManCloud have kind of been stalemated to the mid lane for the past few minutes. 7-6 is the score. And Zion Spartan's going to switch up his lanes
right now. Oh, it's going to be too many people for Zion to handle, though. Let's see how he does it.
I think he could still get one out of this. Smithy needs to be very careful. Zion's a big boy. There's one. This could be easily 2 and 3 for Zion Spartan. He goes back for the box. That's 2. Zuna's in the wrong spot. This could be 3. Not enough lifesteal, but that was an empowered shot for half his health.
And now the rest of the team is going for Baron as well. They're peeling off of it. Let's see if they can go.
Daydreamin', trying to come around with the rest of the team. Who's he going to speed up? Not enough of anyone. And they back off for now.
Well, that was definitely interesting. Zion Spartan is becoming a little bit large. I believe that XGG needs to keep Benny in check with Zion, else that is going to happen on multiple occasions.
Well, I don't think they knew it was going to happen, right? The teleport was up, and they didn't have anybody pushing top lane, so he's like, we don't need to teleport bottom. 3 people will kill you.
Yeah, so the red buff was really huge on this too, and Zion Spartan did a couple of things well. Obviously got a lot of damage on the XP, but watch how he flashes outside of the box just to get the last hit. Then he never really takes that much box damage.
No.
He only took 1 hit, able to focus the squishiest targets first as well. Couldn't quite finish off Zuna at the end.
Thank God for that block on Pantheons.
Yeah.
That saved his life. 24 minutes, 8-8 as XDG picks up that kill to even up at least the kill score. And they're really not that far behind in gold from everything that's been happening. It seemed very grim, but we got to keep saying XDG still close.
And this team composition for Coast has a couple of goals here. It's Zion Spartan distracting as much as he can, which he is doing a fantastic job. The idea is that Jax becomes so powerful that any one person can't deal with him. Then the rest of Coast, 4 ranged champions. The idea is to put a bunch of Nidalee traps down, a bunch of Caitlyn traps down, and just throw spears and peacemakers again and again until they finish off a turret. Or if XGG tries to engage with 5, they're supposed to be able to disengage very well. that hasn't, the disengage part hasn't been working so far for them, but the general theme of the composition is how they're playing. Zion's doing his part, the other 4 are sticking together as a crew.
Sometimes it's very hard to do. Once they see that guy off in the split push lane, you get engaged on very fast. But like you said, Coast, keeping in mind that they need to kite and they need to play safe. They've done a great job at not letting Zuna really get anything in this early part of the game, but he's also done a great job of getting himself 3-1 and 3 in a few items.
Yeah, the Black Cleaver as well will help xSmithy. The question always becomes, how well can you actually disengage against Sivir? Everyone's able to manipulate speed right there, and if XDG decides to go in, especially if they have Trundle in the area, is it possible that Coast can run away? I think that's going to be the deciding factor in this game.
Zion Spartan doing what he does best in the bottom lane, split pushing out. Benny is there. He has to adapt to what Coast is doing right now. The Triforce and the Cutlass just for Zion Spartan right now.
Dear.
He is wreaking havoc. That'll make him take a few extra shots. Here's the Skyfall, but wait a minute. They're going to drop a lot off of Baron here. Zion's going to try to stay along. Not long. I was going to stay alive as long as possible, but it wasn't long.
That's not how it's supposed to go for Coast. They got completely obliterated before Zion Spartan could make progress, and the other 4 couldn't make it work. That was a great collapse by Zuna. Pantheon jungle is great against split pushes because he brings so much damage that you can usually close out when someone like Jax extends that way.
Nicely done. See if XDG can adapt here and start pressuring Coast back on their side of the map. XDG has still been trying to ward. They have 1 ward down by the Wraith side, keeping that vision up. But Coast wants to make sure that vision is also in their favor too, and they're not just going to leave this Baron open.
Yeah, at this point, it's a game of cat and mouse. It really seems like. No sneak Baron attempts thus far by Coast. By the way, if there's ever a point in the game where Zion Spartan can beat up Benny 1v1, Coast pretty much wins. Or if Zion's, because once he can do that, then the Pantheon coming in, he'd just be able to kill him too.
Yeah.
You know, because they're never going to be there like right from the start. Let's see, Zion Spartan, round 2.
He's going in hard, and Zion has not put many resistances or anything else into his build. Still is not using his ultimate as he goes into these fights. He's played it so accordingly, so patiently, and he gets another kill for himself.
Benny really committed hard for that turret.
Yep.
I don't necessarily think it was worth it because now the Dragon objective might be takeable. Zuna's trying to rush it down, and we might see a fight as they collapse and converge in the river.
Zuna flexing his muscles here. He runs straight at him. Oh, no, the spear. Then the shot, but it gets shielded away by the Lantern. Very close, and Bloodwater didn't even really see anybody, but he's already below half health.
Definitely seems like these teams are evenly matched. That's one thing to say.
The gold says so, and so do the turrets. So does the score. As we come up here in 28 minutes, chat, it's XDG may be the team that needs to grab the momentum in the early game, but they've figured out how to stall it and start picking it back up mid-game now.
Zuna was able to get himself involved.
Yeah.
But now the question is, can they transition it back? It's 4 turrets to 3. They have dealt with Zion Spartan split push fairly well, but haven't really converted much back off of killing him. There's still just a lot of farming coming in. I think if Wiz Fusion gets strong enough, he will be a factor. When his last Whisper is completed, it's going to be a really big moment, but that hasn't happened yet.
These spears are going to start hurting. A lot of Negatron cloaks on the side of XDG. See what they decide to turn these into. Right now, they're just hoping to keep alive for at least 2 spears, because right now 1 is about half your health. Level 16 Shifter, I believe he is the highest in the game right now, along with Zion Spartan.
Yeah, a little bit of a level lead.
Yeah.
On Coast when we look at it across the board. They're continually trying to force around this Baron, but they don't have vision control deep within the XDG jungle. If they're looking to get a catch or really land spears, I think they need a larger threat range, because anytime XDG comes in a bit, oh, there's a spear.
Whoa! That's going to hurt a little bit, and that's going to be the kill. He gets the Blade of the Rune King finish, and Zuna pretty much knew he was done for.
Well, that was also assuming that XDG stuck together at that point. They did get caught out once, which is a great move for Coast. Maybe that's the moment they needed.
Benny around from the outside. This is Smite down. That's why Coast feels so sure about going for this. Man Cloud on the backside. That's where the damage needs to come in from, but he's already wondering if they can do it. Whoa! Coast, Wiz Fusion, Nintendo, and Daydream it all very low, but XDG turned tail?
That was all ManCloud right there, but he was out of burst at that point, and Smithy didn't want to fall down. They're going to re-engage once his cooldowns are back. That dragon, that Baron is low.
Oh my god, a lot of little tidbits for Benny to chew up here. Can they get the damage they need? They have to get a kill out of this. The Ignite goes down on Daydreamin'. Wiz Fusion lives with a sliver of health as he limps away. A kill coming in for Daydreamin', however. Benny trying to run, but there's the jump, the Empower shot to come in.
Here comes Zuna.
Oh, the Grand Skyfall. He might be able to 1v1 Zuna. No, can he get into the fight? Blocked on the Empower shot. Still going strong. This might be enough, but Shifter's on the backside, and they buddy it out for the kill.
We talked about how Coast is a solo lane focused team, and who was around at the end of that fight but the solo laners. It was a messy Baron fight with some crazy engages, but Coast forced because they knew they had an edge, and it makes Zion Spartan even richer after.
What an amazing day of games so far. This fight just kept it going.
There was a little bit of craziness, let's be honest. There was no smite available for XDG, which meant Coast overcommitted onto the Baron a little bit. When they peel, that ultimate from ManCloud made things very interesting. And here was the dangerous call, as Coast is also trying to two-man Baron, when they went back in, because Nintendude wanted to stay alive to smite it, but he wasn't realistically healthy enough to stay into the fight. Once the smite was dead, chaos broke out because it was just time for the fight. No one could stop Zion Spartan, and Benny can't stop the Baron.
That's a big hit coming in. Another kill for Wiz Fusion. He's been on the back line, but the ace in the hole is putting those kills in his pocket. 3-1-4, 1-0-7, 9-3-1. Zion Spartan just going across some of Coast's kill scores, and they are doing a fantastic job this game. XDG is not out of it yet, though.
Yeah, we saw the burst potential of ManCloud's Gragas if Coast groups up. I don't think they're going to be grouping up for anything but the Baron. It's actually fairly rare that you take a poke-heavy team comp like Coast, and they're the ones forcing the objective. Usually when a poke team wants to do Baron, it's death for them because they've cornered themselves against a better team fighting team. It was only because Zion Spartan is so farmed in this game, and the fact that it was a 4v5, that was actually the right call for Coast to make.
No, it doesn't look like they have too many wrong calls to make here. Everything they do is going to be trouble for XDG. They could probably dive one of these turrets quite easily and get the kills they are looking for. 7,000 gold in the lead. They finally start to separate that gold. Turrets as well. 5-3. This Coast taking their time right now. They don't want to put themselves in a bad spot, but they're also kind of letting this Baron drain.
Yeah, they would need to set up a bit of a push. Zion Spartan wanted to get a little bit of extra gold so he can finish his Randwins. I don't think he's planning on going back to base anytime soon, and they want this next Baron push to give them a lot of rewards. I think it was just because of the gold that they delayed that a bit.
See what they do. Shifter checking the Fnatic rush there, making sure nobody is waiting to get a kill on the entire team. So we'll see the split push now going cross map. Let's see if they can take down an inhibitor here. With Baron down, the map is objective free.
Now the next objectives are the turrets.
Yep.
Right here. We need to watch to see if Shifter can get any big spears down, knowing that those are doing huge amounts of damage at this point. And this is the trap field that they're finally going to be able to set up. Let's see if Coast can stick to it and siege this turret down. Separate wings of the map. Zion on one side, the other four on the other.
So glorious. Great job by Zion Spartan. More gold. Grand Skyfall. They now see the
no
ring.
waiting around.
Shifter getting himself out. The spears are now going to start coming in from the outside. Looks like they won't do much. He stays in Cougar form for quite a while. They lose Wiz Fusion on this, but also up top, Zion Spartan's trying to do what he can. This fight will continue. Zuna takes the Thresh Lantern out, and we see the top fight. Benny not having a good time, and this is where XDG needs to be. He's going to jump out, possibly go right back in.
I do have to say, though, that was the best thing XDG could have done in that situation. They did not wait for the poke to set up, and they fought immediately, which was able to repel the push, at least on one side.
Baron buff should keep Zion pretty healthy here in this situation. He also has that Blade of the Rune King when he gets the wave to himself to heal back up. Coast still trying to pressure this advantage, but XDG, they're scrambling to stop it.
Yeah, it is a scramble game. I think the fact that Wiz Fusion is down means the push is temporarily repelled. They have withstood that one Baron buff, but the gold is still going to be setting in. It's already 8,000. It's going to be about 9,500 after this Dragon is taken down, and Coast is just going to keep trying to pull off this strategy again and again.
Doing a very great job at keeping everything in their favor. 3 out of 4 Dragons. That Baron in their favor as well. Just recently, we saw ticking off ManCloud 4, 1, and 3 is starting to have an impact on this game. We saw at the last Baron fight, it pretty much turned it around for XDG if they could have followed up on it. They have the chance. Coast, however, is looking very strong. 333 in the mid lane for that 309, so Shifter's been roaming and making himself present in all lanes.
Yeah, 107. Tough to stay alive in a pretty high kill game.
Yeah.
That is the way of Nidalee, though. Especially in this game when Zune and ManCloud are so heavily just going for Wiz Fusion, and Zion Spartan is such a threat to him,
yeah.
Like, in his own right.
Right. Shifter, it's surprise. Ooh, a little bit of a bush hide here. They have the pink ward upper hand. As I was saying,
not going to come through that way.
No. Shifter, he picked the Katarina a lot because they want him on a carry. So it's interesting to see the Nidalee, but he's keeping himself alive. The longer he's on the map, the longer he can help the team carry and continue to do things like this.
All right, so we saw this last time when Coast had Baron as well. They pushed up and tried to get turret damage. As soon as Coast gets to this turret and starts setting up, I expect an initiation from XGG. Let's see if Coast has switched up the way they siege the turret then, and if Wiz Fusion is a little more careful with the way he goes in, or if they try and actually kill Zion while holding off the poke. There's a couple ways to go at this.
That's an inhibitor turret for pretty much nothing. A little bit of posturing in the bottom lane was able to grab him that. Zion really just keeping his eyes on that turret in the top lane. And now it's going to draw 2 over. They have to start spreading themselves thin on the side of XDG.
The great thing about this for Coast is only one side has to win in order for them to find success. They're kind of splitting up their hand right here and trying to get it on both ends. Zion is definitely winning. The other 4 have not won thus far. That's going to start something, though.
Right down to half. You can see all the traps there as well. If anybody steps on that, they have vision far beyond what they need, and the spears are already hitting into the fog of war. Zion Spartan again drawing 2 up to himself. He should be able to fight this out for quite a while. Seeing that
turn.
Oh man, Zuna could be going down here. He doesn't even care that Benny's there. He knows there's not enough crowd control to stop him. Going under the turn, he gets the whack. Benny may not even be able to stay here for this one. The Blade of the Rune King's gonna get the heal on both, but Zion has his eyes triggered and just set on the inhibitor, takes it down by himself.
Zion Spartan doing his part and then some. What a man up there right now. 11-3 on Jax. Still looking for a piece of Benny after taking the inhibitor down.
And he waited that lane out too. Took him forever to build up that Spectre's Cowl, that Rare Nuan's Omen. He did not want to give Benny any upper hand if he was used Subjugate and get those kills in the lane. Now to mid lane. He feels there's still work to be done.
But he's able to get a bunch of damage down. He is without an ultimate.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear, but they poked down Bloodwater and got a kill there. Both sides winning now.
That's 1, that's 2. Rack up the turrets and chalk up 2 more. 19-12 is the score, but right now Zion Spartan isn't worried about champions. He's getting every structure he can. Ooh, Smithy burning out the flash here. Oh, he gets the wild growth. Wait a minute. Hang on. ManCloud now in the 1v1. Doesn't get that kill, but he gets the body slam follow-up. Soon as the focus now. Benny doing what he can to push out Coast. They may have gotten a little too antsy on this engage. Shifter gets the passive speed, and they get out.
Zion had actually ran out of mana when that happened, so they were able to get one back, but I think they've lost so much from that. Knowing an inhibitor is down, knowing an inhibitor turret is down on the other side, are just all bad things. Zion is just life-stealing up on the red buff.
Gonna go ahead, probably jump over the wall on this one. Give his team a little hand in the second Baron of the game.
Yeah, it feels like Coach is in control right here. This is the... It was a little rough for Coast getting to this point, but now it's that kind of controlled victory. No matter what XDG does or how someone on Coast gets caught off, because the overall strategy for them is so sound with an incredibly farmed Jax over in one lane and a good poke team in the other, it is hard to lose in that situation. They're doing a good job executing what they have built from their team comp right now. This was a kill we actually missed. It was just a cocoon stun onto a bunch of skill shots hitting all at once, and they're able to finish him off. That gave them turrets on both sides because XDG was really just pushed way back to their base.
Almost getting impossible for XDG now to keep Coast out of their base. You can see the elixir being bought up by ManCloud, the blue buff being transferred over now. They're trying to do everything they can to get some type of power play under their belt and on their side for an advantage. Very big gold lead coming in, almost 13,000 gold.
How are they going to deal with Zion? It just doesn't work out right now. He's got so much armor as well as so much damage. X-Smithy, Zuna, and Benny all rely upon physical damage to try and get him down. As long as Zion can wait out the Trundle ultimate and not engage in a 3v1 while the Trundle ultimate is running, he'll be good. This is the quick initiation for XDG. They have to go in now.
Oh, he faces the ace in the hole. They go right on Wiz Fusion. Whoa, this could be a turnaround fight right here. Nintendo's way far in, and it looks like Zion Spartan actually coming from the backside. He gets flayed out of the jump. Looks like this could be a big one here, no? Coast enters the fight with Zion, and he's pushing out 3. Shifter wants to join him here in the buddy system on the bottom, or top side of this fight, I should say. Going down is going to be Bloodwater. Eyes now on. A double kill coming in for Zion Spartan, and he turns this fight around by himself.
Look at the smile on Zion's face right now. He is just completely unstoppable. When he knew he had the attack speed from Italy and the red buff, he knew it was over.
What an amazing game. All 3 games we've had today have put people on their feet and the edge of their seat. Coast wins this one at 40 minutes with 24 kills.